Some things just don't work whether you're in Ecuador, Panama, or anywhere in Latin America traveling, possibly anywhere on Earth. Or at the very least, you'll be going uphill. You'll be swimming upstream, which is not impossible. For example, trying to get a local rate, but having a beach umbrella. Going to the beach. Hi, Frank and Angie, professional frugalists and live abroad life hackers. That's why I had such a tough time yesterday. Even the buses were trying to get more money out of me. You don't look like a local if you look like a tourist. But there are times when you must look like a tourist in order to have some fun. Just like when somebody said that the truth will set you free, and somebody added, or cause you a bunch of problems. Meaning knowing the local rates is just the beginning. Then you've got the burden of encouraging the local rate. To whom much is given, much is required, right? You know how it is when you travel, you're over here and you're over there, and your mind does this thing where it starts thinking about comparisons, and it's starting to say, well, gee whiz, it's more of a car culture in Panama. Now when you're in, it's more like the States, it's more of a car culture than, say, Ecuador. And of course when you're in the city, you don't notice it as much because you've got the metro. You don't notice it as much, but once you get out here, you notice how car dependent your travel is. Like, one of the differences is that here in Panama, at least, you get these big huge trees. Look how huge that is. It gives lots of shade, and that's one thing you don't have in Salinas. You don't have any shade trees over there. And when we get to the beach, we'll talk about some more stuff. How's that sound? So we just got off the bus right here. We had to ask him, where the heck do you get the bus to go back, because there's no bus stop. This is what I'm saying about car culture. It's not friendly, transpo friendly. You know, if I didn't speak any Spanish, I'd be like, you know, it'd be really uncomfortable. So I'm just saying, you know, the pros and cons. We're just outlining the differences in the different places, but really, it's not really about Ecuador or Panama either, is it? Because what it comes down to is, it's either easy or not without knowing some local language. That's what it comes down to, isn't it? And it always does come down to that. And that's going to color your experience in a place, whether it's Mexico or Panama or Ecuador or what else, Colombia, you know, Argentina, wherever you go, it's going to be the same story. I mean, if you have somewhat of a fluency of the language of where you're going, then yeah, okay, everything's going to be a little easier. But if you don't, that's where things get tricky. And a place like this, it's more car friendly than Ecuador. Okay, we got that part, Frank. The wind is blowing, guys. We're going to compare beaches here, Panama beaches. We're going to compare to Salinas. Now the thing about Ecuador and Panama, they do have different spots, obviously, on their coasts, and each spot's going to be a little bit different than the next spot. like in Salinas you got your Punta Carnero, which has got the really agitated water, which this water here in Panama is similar to that. So this is an agitated water beach. So as far as water, it's like Punta Carnero, not really conducive to swimming. So it's nothing like Salinas in that respect. The other thing is it's much more humid here. You can feel. Hola, buenas tardes. Oh, hey, Elizabeth and Carlo.
I didn't recognize you guys.
Ah, no. I didn't recognize you. How are you?
I'm fine, you?
Good.
Oh, it's nice to see you again.
Yeah. Small world. Yeah. Nice seeing you.
Bye, guys. Have fun.
That's one thing about Central Americans. They're very friendly. We've said that before. Now, it's definitely more tropical. It's more humid here. The wind's blowing. And Salinas, sometimes it's blowing, sometimes it's not, especially in Chupipe. I like the mix, the black with the golden sand. Over there, it's just a solid color, which is fine too. Over there, and I say over there, Salinas, you know, it's more commercial. This is more, I don't know, I'm going to use descriptive terms that might seem biased. I'm going to say a little more pristine, but not really. It's a little more natural, it's a little more residential. Let's put it that way. It's more residential. You see the houses there. Yes, you still have these buildings and all, which you also have in Salinas, but there's more housing here, and you see a lot more trees here. You see all these trees here. And so that's part of the tropicalness of it. But really, beyond that, Salinas is definitely more commercial. It's got a street where cars drive right on the Malecon, where you don't have that here. This is more like a neighborhood, and then you just get to the end of the neighborhood and that's it. There's not really any like parking lots or anything, or restaurants or anything like that. So you're really more of into a residential neighborhood here, whereas over there it's you got the restaurants, you can walk, and of course everybody else can too, and that's why it's so crowded over there. Whereas over there, all the cars are driving on the front row on the Ocean Boulevard, and then you can just park right there. There's coffee shops right there. There's hotels right there. Over here, it's not quite like that. It's more, again, it's more residential. It's like driving to a dead-end street. There's houses all the way to the end, and so in that sense, it's a little less accessible, especially if you don't know the area. But there's a lot of residential here, a lot of nice homes on the water, and of course they're pricey.
Riptide, right there.
Yeah, this is a really rough spot.
You do not want to swim. There's a riptide.
You don't want to even try. The ocean started giving me the splits, and the ocean doesn't know when to quit. Even though you might be ready to quit, it's not. I don't know if we covered it in a different video, there really aren't any real bus stops or anything. You kind of already have to know where you're going, or you got to speak Spanish. Again, there's taxis, but then you still don't know where you're going. Some of the beaches are a little more desirable than others, but you know, you do have your buildings, and it's really expensive here. Salinas is getting that way too. It's especially the beachfront. It's gotten, you know, probably a higher price than Florida in Salinas. This is not about the people, but the idea here is that there's Americans getting on forums saying, well, you know, I'm here and I'm paying $1,500 a month. I've got ocean view. I can't do that in the States, and that's just not true. It's not correct. You can do that in the States. Yes, you can. I've got material where I go into that in detail. If you look into the links underneath our videos, I've got a course that I'm working on. There's been quite a bit of interest in it as of late, the last few months. You can sign up for more information. And so if you are interested, let us know that you're interested by signing up. Because like I've been saying, we are experienced life hackers and professional frugalists, and you know, we know how to make it happen, and we can show you how to do it, and living a good abundant life as you should be having. So and as we've been having all along. But yeah, I was saying that Salinas is actually more expensive than Florida. The reason being that the prices are pretty much stable year-round, whereas in Florida you've got your off seasons. And we've even shown you on different videos, if you haven't seen them, we made a video where we actually compared beachfront property in the States to beachfront property abroad, and it's actually just as cheap, if not cheaper, to get your beachfront life in the States. And there's a lot of reasons why you would want to stay there in the States. Now, personally, I have a lot of reasons for being abroad, and a lot of people have reasons for being abroad. So that's not what this video is about. I'm just saying, if you're just looking at price, don't go to these forums that talk about how I can't do this in the States. It's not true. It's not correct at all. You know, I'm going to make a different video about this. I'm going to cut this right here. But anyway, those are some of the differences. And thanks for listening, and have a wonderful day. And here's a lady that's keeping the beach clean. ¿Cómo se llama usted? Merita, con gusto conocerla. Gracias por limpiar la playa. Muchas gracias.